I hope that people go on the journey with me. I hope that they understand there's some highs, honey, and there's some lows. My name is Mark Bradford, and you're in my salon in my studio, which is on the tip of South Central. For me, the Venice Biennale was all myth. It was something that was passed down from artist to artist, and you would hear about it. So I never really associated it with anything real. When they announced it publicly, and it became, in some ways, contextualized, historically contextualized, and when that context started around what was going on politically, who I was as an artist, my race, all this stuff started coming out. It was like a country that was changing from Obama to Trump. It was so many voices in that choir, all screaming at the same time. Someone said go, and they were off and running and halfway around the track before I even started. So I kind of had to run and kind of catch up, and then I had to be in the lead. It's my voice. It's my narrative, it's who I was. I took it back by building it. This is my hair salon in my studio, and it's mine. Same thing as with the Venice Biennial. I built a full-scale replica, and I played in it. I got comfortable in it. It was mine. And I gave myself all kinds of privileges and all kinds of space to do whatever I wanted. I do believe that the biennial that I was in 2017, had even more intensity around it because there was more intensity around the country, more intensity around the government. Level of energy was high. I just muscled my voice into that room. I just muscled right in and sat down and just, like I always do. I use materials that come from the world, that they have a use value. I use common materials that basically probably regular folks use. I don't see the difference between being an artist and the policies of the world. I don't see us and them. To me, it bleeds back and forth. And it's definitely my choice to use material that belongs in the world, that comes from the world, and people being able to read that materiality into the work. Absolutely. I think using those kind of everyday materials and also interest in the history of painting and the history of abstraction. When I got out of school, I was so attracted to it because of the fact that it was a no-no. It was a place that they kind of like, don't go there. We've deconstructed it, it's bad, it's a place of white male privilege. You are a gay black man. I need to have a place that I can work out who I am. I'll tell you what it means to be gay my way. I'll tell you what it means to be from a hair salon my way. I'll tell you what it means. I'll tell you, stop telling me. Like, but was I allowed to say that, you know, early 90s kind of, was I allowed to say that? Was I allowed to say, I'm gonna tell my story? And was it okay that I was gonna use it through the gaze of abstraction? Was that running away from the male body? Was that running away from my race? Was that running away from my class? No, it wasn't. But I was going to tell it my way in an autonomous way. This is subject position. This is how I feel about it. I am autonomous, and I will tell you who I am, but let me be very clear. I'm black. I have no, I'm black. My culture is black. I'm fine with black. I don't have a problem with black. So I am autonomous, but collectively, I'm collective too. Baltimore is a completely different context, and I'm all about context, context, context. I think they're going to see it differently. When I talk about the poem, somebody put me out of my house, and they told me it was my mom, and it dragged, and I think they'll understand it different. Baltimore has gone through ups and downs. Baltimore is not just The Wire. Baltimore has struggled with police violence, economic collapse, healthcare. Baltimore is a black city. And the context of a show coming to Baltimore that was about really the history of America in some way, and me being a black man, I think they're going to move into the work differently. If you're talking about sort of black men and public space and policing and what has happened if certain black men have, it's all the black bodies moving through public space and that vulnerability. I think that there's something beyond just the objects you make that could have an interesting conversation with the objects and with the context. It's kind of interesting to be an artist and step outside of the kind of museum and to be able to interact more on a social level with other groups and develop kind of a relationship, and out of that something can happen. The community center, what it resonated for me was it was a safe space, like the hair salon. The hair salon was a safe space for me. It's a safe space where they are allowed to be themselves, where they're allowed to be creative, where their voices are heard. There are people there, there are adults there to make them feel special, make them feel safe and heard. I learned from them, they learned from me. I listen, they listen. It's all about access on both sides. I just want my work to just be a reflection of my journey, really straight up. And all that it encompasses. But it's honest. But it's honest. Come into my world and just go on the journey with me, ride it with me. I don't edit my world. I hope that people feel that it's honest and take something with them. But if they just say, it's honest, that's enough.